Did Donald Trump just make the case for universal health care? Thom Hartmann explains. Like, subscribe, and share the video with your friends and family.
Meanwhile, it's now semi-official. This from today's Washington Post, or maybe it's yesterday's Joel Achenbach. The headline, "Proposal to hasten herd immunity to the coronavirus grabs White House attention but appalls top scientists." Alex Azar, the guy who, when he was the CEO of Eli Lilly, doubled the price of insulin, he's now the head of Health and Human Services. Because Trump has this just standing policy. Any agency that has regulatory power that can be used to make billionaires richer and average Americans poorer, we're going to put somebody in that position who is going to work to make billionaires richer and average people poorer. And Alex Azar is a great example of that, and he's in charge of HHS. A senior administration official, this from the Washington Post, the senior administration official told reporters in a background briefing call Monday that the proposed strategy, Alex Azar was talking about, our strategy for COVID, is basically herd immunity. Quote, "The plan is endorsing what the president's policy has been for months." This is from the National Institutes of Health Director Francis Collins, NIH director, works for Alex Azar. "The plan is endorsing what the president's policy has been for months. The president's policy, protect the vulnerable, prevent hospital overcrowding, and open schools and businesses." He's been very clear on that. Well, how do you do all those things at once without everybody wearing masks, without everybody being regularly tested and contact tracing? You don't. This is a herd immunity strategy. The person goes on to say, "I don't think society has to be paralyzed. We know the harms of confining people to their homes." So the administration, the Trump administration, has embraced herd immunity. They're just saying, this is it. We're going to try and spread this virus as far as wide as we can. And Donald Trump, in the 20 days until the election, every single day wants to be out in front of thousands of people helping spread the virus in those communities. Now, we know that there's a couple of people in the hospital right now as a result of Trump's Minneapolis or Minnesota. It was some strange, I'm sure they don't think it's strange, but it's an unusual name for the town. I'm sorry, it's not at the tip of my tongue. And a bunch of infections have been traced to this, 2 of them hospitalized. His Tulsa rally spiked coronavirus all across Oklahoma. I mean, it's just, this is happening everywhere Donald Trump goes. As a few weeks later, you see this spike in infections. Well, that's actually their policy. Spread the disease until 70% of Americans are infected. So we have 340 million people. 70% of that is 238 million people. All 238 million people will then be at risk for the known side effects of this, like dementia, strokes, heart damage, kidney damage, and severe chronic fatigue. But right now, according to Johns Hopkins, our case fatality rate is 2.7%. In other words, if 100 people get coronavirus, 2.7 of them will die. So if Trump's policy of infecting 238 million Americans, 70% of the population, to create herd immunity, if that policy is followed through and we have a case fatality rate of 2.7%, that means you have 6.4 million dead Americans. Now, you can just do the math. 2.7% of 238 million people is 6.4 million Americans dead. On top of that, we have multiple confirmed reports around the world, most recently just from Las Vegas a couple days ago. This, tested, checked, peer-reviewed science, that people are getting reinfected by the coronavirus the same way that we periodically get reinfected with the flu and the common cold. Yeah, we get immunity to the flu and the common cold. That's why they go away until next year when the immunity fades or there's a new variation on the virus. So even after 6.2 million Americans have died, or 6.4 million Americans have died following Trump's herd immunity strategy, the other 238 million of us who are infected or who have been infected can get reinfected and have a brand new opportunity to die or have a stroke or have lifelong dementia. We are the only country in the world willing to pursue this stupid and deadly herd immunity policy, but we're also the only country in the world without a national health care system, which is at the core of any public health strategy. And that's the bottom line here. Until we have Medicare for all, until we have a national health care system, we're going to find it very, very difficult to do anything other than herd immunity.